and welcome to Morning Cafe. Thank you so much for waking up with us this morning. It is the 11th day of December 2025. We keep track of the Christmas countdown. 14 days to Christmas.
Welcome to set up your Christmas tree.
Looking so beautiful.
Looking so beautiful. They need to say it, you know. Have you set one at home?
Imagine, we still have time. Maybe.
Well, that one I agree.
Days.
Please make sure to set one. It's very important. You know, the little memories that you create on this Christmas season. Just going back to a beautiful tree, well decorated, is an amazing thing. And we're here this morning to make sure that we are those Christmas gals for you. As we keep track of the days of importance, we also take a look at what is happening around you and beyond right here on the Morning Cafe.
Absolutely. And before we get deep into the local dailies this morning, it's International Mountain Day. Take a scenic hike or drive up a nearby peak. They're encouraging you to try adventurous sports like mountain biking and skiing, or camp out and sleep under the stars. It's also UNICEF Day for Change. Help a child out there. Lakini, yesterday we made mention of the Fun City event.
Oh yes, of course.
Today we are
live
giving them something.
Oh, we are giving you goodies. I mean, we keep saying that, you know, Christmas is about making merry. And so when we're talking about Fun City, you first get the word fun, and you know there's a lot of fun that is prepared for you and at an affordable rate. And that's what Fun City in Utawala is all about. So we'll be telling you what we did this morning as we make sure that at least you get to win yourself that. But it's important, first of all, we look at the papers. My name is Linda Alela.
My name is Anne Odida. Tuanze na taifa leo, mtego wa Trump wanasa wa Kenya 15.
Daily Nation, Kenyans named in Trump worst illegal aliens list.
All right, same headline. Same headlines on the Star. 15 Kenyans to be deported from USA in Trump crackdown.
And Safaricom buyout. This is the People's Daily, what it could mean for Kenyans.
All right. The Standard, radical shift begins, matters education. We'll be back to take a look at it.
And the Business Daily, Treasury discloses about 103 billion Kenya shillings expressway termination fee.
All right. That's as far as the local dailies are concerned.
And on the State of the Nation this morning, Wilson Susion, veteran educator and unionist, as well as Dr. Peter Mbai, Secretary Planning and Economic Affairs, that is on a DStv party, and of course Zakaria Baraza, political analyst, are the gentlemen that are going to help us unpack the activities of the nation.
All right. After that, we'll be talking matters mobile lending. Kevin Matthews Okeyo, Digital Financial Services Senior Manager at KCB, will be here for us to have this conversation. The confidence and convenience of mobile lending. Is it actually convenience?
Is it? Giving any form of confidence?
Yes.
Wow.
Ama we are
slavery.
Depending on it.
You know?
Right. So Kevin will be here to tell us more about mobile lending. Tuvuke boda kwanza. This is the Daily Monitor Uganda, the good, bad in US health deal. It's a sealed pack, they say, and while the government is smiling from ear to ear over the new health funding module, questions have been raised on the requirement to share patients' details with the Washington government amid demands to see the full details of the pact. Now, this is also happening in Kenya.
In Tanzania also there's a deal.
In East Africa, right. So East Africans are really worried about their data being shared with Washington. But what US will provide has been captured here on the front page very well. They say $1.7 billion to provide over 6 trillion over the 5 years, train and equip community health extension workers, support faith-based healthcare providers through Uganda, invest in data and disease surveillance systems, strengthen health supplies, procurement for common diseases like HIV, TB, and malaria, basically same as what is happening in the country. And we've also captured this on our caricatures this morning. We'll take a look at it in details. But this story has been covered on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Monitor. On the other side of the ice that broke the internet.
Captioned, the vows or the moment were spoken, but her eyes had already said yes. The 5-second clip of Diana Nakabirwa posted on X generated about 1.1 million views. It is probably one of the most viewed videos from Faniro Ministries. Of course, interesting times in X and social media. Even in your private life, the world will come into it and they will sensationalize, they will talk about it and all that. It could be interesting to watch that clip.
Kule chini, every voice must be heard. UN tells Ugandan government ahead of elections in January. And on the top strip, Kiambogo University graduation.
Chambogo, eh? Is
Chambogo.
it Chambogo?
Chambogo, you're
Chambogo,
right.
It should be all right.
Chambogo. You're right, that's a graduation there. It's been captured on the inside pages of this newspaper. That's the Daily Monitor.
And of course, the Daily, as you actually say, the New Vision is always painted yellow. Right. And the conversation is largely about the elections in Uganda. And of course, they also capture the USA-Uganda sign deal. That is the 8.1 trillion deal that cuts across most of the countries in East Africa. I mean, in Kenya, we already have hit the courts challenging the deal, pretty much the same thing. And of course, they try to unpack so that the people of Uganda can get to understand that. But also on politics, what Changulanyi promises voters. And of course, that is in relation to the elections that are coming very fast in January. I mean, the current government concerned in how they're just going to form their campaign trail, but of importance, the promises that they give to the people so that they can secure another term. But on the other side, we have the opposition parties and Robert Changulanyi being one of the key contenders as well, selling their agenda to the people.
All right, Uganda's best farmers
2025.
It's only
Congratulations to them.
That you see something like this.
Interesting, eh?
Best farmers.
Best farmers. But you know, they are very huge in farming, yeah? It's pretty much like what happens in Kisii. So we would say Uganda generally is a food basket across, and therefore it's important to appreciate and celebrate the farmers indeed.
All right, that's as far as Uganda is concerned. Crossover to Bongo, gazeti la Mwananchi. Kujifungia ndani mwiba kiuchumi. Wataalamu wataja athari kwa uchumi wa nchi. Watu binafsi na taasisi. Wafanyabiashara walia na hasara, shughuli zikirejea. Ulinzi waimarishwa kila kona Dar es Salaam. Profesa Neema Kalugila amenukuliwa hapa akisema wanapokaa ndani kwa siku moja bila kufanya biashara inamaanisha hakuna chochote wanachoingiza kwa siku husika. Hii inawaathiri hata kijamii, si kiuchumi peke yake. Na baadhi ya madhara ya kujifungia ndani amezitaja hapa. Wanasema kuathiri moja kwa moja pato la taifa na mzunguko wa fedha. Wananchi kupunguza matumizi ya kila siku, kukosa huduma za msingi za kijamii, vile vile sekta isiyo rasmi kuathirika zaidi kimapato. Wale wa kutoka ili wapate riziki ya siku ni majanga na kuathiri mikakati ya kuvutia uwekezaji, mitaji kupungua. Of course, this is after the October 29 general election which came about with a lot of unrest in Tanzania.
Wanasema now 9th Independence Day.
Wanasema kwamba shughuli zinarejea. Na kule chini, matukio ya utekaji yalivyotikisa mwaka 2025 licha ya jeshi la polisi Tanzania kuendelea na uchunguzi kuhusu kuripotiwa kwa matukio ya watu kupotea na utekaji. Yapo matukio ambayo yameendelea kusalia kwenye vichwa vya watu kutokana na kutikisa kwa wakati huo. Anasema kwamba tukio la kutekwa na kutoonekana hadi sasa kwa Polepole, Mdude na watu kadhalika yanatia hofu kule Tanzania. Habari kamili katika ukurasa wa 15. Kuna Mdude, Mseti na vile vile Polepole.
The abductions.
Mwekezaji wa Tanzania aula mradi wa shilingi trilioni 2.2 Zambia. Na kule juu, mageuzi ya kiuchumi kisera yalivyofungua mlango wa uwekezaji ni habari nyingine katika ukurasa wa 10, na inasema kwamba mwaka huu unaelekea ukingoni wakati ambao Tanzania inaendelea kushuhudia ongezeko la uwekezaji katika miradi mbalimbali. That's as far as gazeti la Mwananchi, lakini tukisalia kule Bongo.
The Citizen speaks of businesses rebound and that commercial activity across Tanzania began slowly rebound yesterday, with businesses expressing cautious optimism after a slowdown that is on December the 9th when streets in major urban centers fell silent over protest fears and a call to remain indoors. I think this is what normally happens. Of of course, when there's a vibrant space, and then all of a sudden you're telling them today we are not going to hit the streets, or we're not going to get to the shops for businesses, you would suddenly expect this. They say that ports and cargo flow regain momentum, and the port operations continue to happen, uninterrupted, and officials confirm that the slowdown on December the 9th stemmed from reduced cargo collection rather than any other operational shutdown. Yusuf Omari Yenga, the Salam Business Community Chairperson, says that people were very cautious on December the 9th, especially those from outside the city who postponed their trips. But today we have seen movement picking up, and that is encouraging. Why Tanzanians still rely on year-end trips to build family unity? Of course, extensively captured on page 2. Perhaps they speak about this even as we slowly get to the festivities. And on the question of education, that is the National Education Student Loan System set for major digital upgrade that is under HESLB, HESLB, Adapt IT deal. That is a story that has been captured on page 3. And this Tanzania's Amson's in a $900 million deal for about 1,300 megawatts Zambia power projects. That is what is captured on the Citizen. Caricature hapana, bado tusikimbie kwanza.
Tusikimbie kwanza.
All right.
Tuangalie hali ya anga tuone kunakaa vipi leo. We start off in Nakuru, 12 degrees this morning.
Right.
It's a partly cloudy day in Nakuru, highs of 23 degrees. Precipitation 5% kidogo sana. This weather will persist into the weekend and into the beginning of next week. That is 23 degrees.
Okay.
Tukienda Wajir, this morning it's 25 degrees as we speak, feels like 26. It's a partly sunny day.
Yeah.
Wanasema partly sunny day, but the projection we're looking at, is a sunny day.
Eh? Sunny? Oh, sunny because of the yellowish and all that.
And partly
yes,
cloudy.
And partly cloudy on the other days.
Precipitation 5% as well, so that is very nothing to show for it. Highs of 36 degrees in Wajir. It will drop starting tomorrow to by 3 degrees up to maybe 33 and 34. That's weather in Wajir.
Okay.
Tuangalie holiday weather Malindi kama kuna it's holiday weather 27
Partly
degrees
sunny.
as we speak. Feels like 29, partly sunny, yes. Precipitation in Malindi 30%, so it's likely to rain in Malindi today.
Yeah? Okay.
So this 30 degrees, of course, this is the weather up until next week.
Okay.
Itasalia kule tuende Nyanza.
Siaya.
18 degrees, feels like it. It's a mostly cloudy day.
Okay.
Highs of 29 degrees, precipitation 10%, very, very minimal, but tomorrow it will rain in Siaya.
Okay.
Precipitation will be very, very high at 70%.
Okay.
Actually, up until Monday, it will rain in Siaya County. Yes.
Okay. From Siaya County, we go all the way to Ukambani.
19 degrees this morning.
Mostly cloudy.
Feels like 24 degrees as we speak. Precipitation here 30%, so it's likely to rain this today. Wanasema starting right now, so you can talk to us, tell us if it's raining in Makueni. Highs of 30 degrees, and this will persist into the weekend.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Last but not least, back here in Nairobi.
16 degrees this morning.
Mostly cloudy.
Feels like 15 degrees. Precipitation in Nairobi 20%, very, very minimal. This will persist up until maybe tomorrow too, and then into the weekend it will drop to 24 degrees. So weather in Nairobi looking good as well.
Okay.
It's 14 minutes past 6 a.m. Tuangalie Thursday traffic.
Okay.
Nasemanga this is pre-Friday.
Hapo hakuna mambo mingi.
Hakuna mambo mingi.
Yeah.
So major tributaries to town, let's see.
Interestingly, kuna a bit of traffic.
There's something here. This is Muthaiga interchange building up slowly. Like Kini, this is not building up slowly even. Traffic snarl-up is already here around this
Pangani,
area. As you can see, this is red. Ikiwa yellow, tunaweza sema it's moving, but clearly there's something there.
Yeah.
Let's go way back north of Thika Road, tuone kunakaa vipi. Clear. Garden City Mall, today looking good, nothing to worry about.
Right.
So there's actually a problem here. Kama unatoka nyumbani ukichelewa, you'll have...
I think it's because most of the cars now are from Thika Road, from Kiambu Road, and all that. Zinakuja kupatana hapo. Yeah.
So if you look at the northern bypass...
Kiambu Road is looking good, eh?
Kiambu
then we come to the northern, okay.
So if we look at the city center, of course, we're looking at the major tributaries to town. Also,
what is this? Landis Road.
Landis Road, Haile Selassie Avenue.
You would obviously expect to find a bit of traffic, and that because then the vehicles are trying to get to town, some actually trying to come out of town.
All right, Jogo Road also building up slowly. There's something here, but nothing to worry about. Either in matatu zinaingia, Manyanja Road looking good as well. If you go way back to Kangunda Road, also nothing much to worry about.
For around Umoja Market, a bit of traffic, but
yeah,
I think you're in the activities of the market, right?
But there's something here. This is not normal.
Yeah.
As you say it, there's something here around Umoja One Market there. As you can see, this is Kangunda Road way back into Njuru, looking good. Tukiangalia Mombasa Road, also not bad, as you can see. Nothing much to worry about. Tuangalie this other side of town, Waiyaki Way and watu wa Ngong Road, tuone kama mmeamka.
Southern bypass squeeze is very clear, eh?
Very, very clear. Usually you say there's people working from home.
Langata, interestingly, is clear today.
Very, very clear. Huku hata ni kama tunafanyanga kazi ya bure.
Ngong Road, interestingly too, is clear.
It's very clear. I'm trying to
Lavington, Gatanga, all good. Waiyaki Way, ABC Place, clear all the way.
Looking good. So that's the traffic situation. 17 minutes past 6 a.m. Let's have the quote of the day. If nothing breaks you, nothing builds you. Growth isn't found in flawless days, it's earned in the cracks, scars, and comebacks. All right, let's come back and take a look at the local dailies. And we start off with Taifa Leo. Mtego wa Trump wanasa wa Kenya 15. Serikali ya Amerika imetangaza kuwa itawafurusha wa Kenya 15 miongoni mwa maelfu ya raia wa kigeni ambao wamehukumiwa kwa makosa mbalimbali kutoka nchi yao. And they called them a very derogatory term yesterday. They said worst illegal aliens.
Yes.
Wako hapa mbele.
Kuna mmoja wao ambaye anaitwa worst of the worst. Kuna mmoja wao ambaye anaitwa worst of the worst. I don't know. Maybe makosa ambayo alifanya labda ni
kubwa sana.
Kubwa zaidi ndio.
Utawala wa Donald Trump wazidisha msako dhidi ya maelfu ya wahamiaji kule Amerika. Na wako hapa Boniface Mburu, Isaac Givenji, Francis Mungai, Clement Mulovi. Whatever they've done has been listed here.
Been listed as well. Makosa ya haramu. Vitu vingi tu wamefanya. Ulaghai.
Clement Mulovu, Collins Kianche, Kevin Guyunyanyi, Lanserian Montet, Moses Okoth, Mohamed Chekani, na vile vile Moffat Muridhi. 15 in total to be deported back to Kenya.
Well, deportation is fair than to be, jailed abroad, so basi ndo hayo, na kama wanakubali makosa, hakuna ujanja.
Alright, vidokezo zaidi Gachagua, sababu zangu 8 za kuunga Kalonzo, ni habari tu katika ukurasa wa 3. Wakulima wahodhi mahindi, nasema kwamba wakulima wauzaji sasa wanahodhi mahindi ili kupandisha bei ya unga sokoni. Every day is a learning day. Wahodhi.
Na maana gani?
Katika ukurasa wa 3. Taifa Leo.
Labda wana stock, and then of course ultimately sasa when there is need, the prices shoot up.
Na M23 wateka mji wa DRC licha ya mkataba. Waasi wa AFC M23 wanaoungwa mkono na Rwanda watoa mji muhimu wa Uvira. Habari kamili katika ukurasa wa 8. Kule juu, majaji 3 kusikiza kesi kuhusu ada na mzozo kuhusu uhalali wa sheria ya nyumba za bei nafuu watua korti ya rufaa. Na masala ya spoti pale, Chelsea kilio, Liverpool Spurs furaha. Chelsea walipata pigo machoni pa Atalanta nchini Italia mechi za UEFA. Habari kamili katika ukurasa wa 20. Taifa Leo.
Taifa Leo, Daily Nation, Kenyans named in Trump worst illegal aliens list. I think tumezungumzia hilo. is basically what is captured on the front page. And of course, the faces of these individuals, plus what it is that they have been arrested for. 15 of them are among actually hundreds of foreign nationals set to be kicked out of the United States. And it's if you imagine that there could be some bit of reprieve for them after some arrangements with the presidents, then you are certainly wrong. When Trump means business, he certainly means business, and therefore home it is for them. Well, matters education, what to expect as, of course, we get to have the release of the Kenya Junior School Education Assessment results today. Of course, in a watershed moment, the competency-based education CBE journey. Then, of course, the 1.1 million candidates who undertook the assessment will have their results presented in a format different from what country has seen before. Some actually argue that these students might not even be able to know what it is that their results are. And there's a lot of, cloud that's shrouded this whole matter as we try to get it right in terms of education. Of course, we have seen people online trying to advise parents on what direction they need to take in relation to that. But I think it bequeaths the government to go out there and make sure that there's proper understanding of what parents and students are getting themselves to. Police shot most of their victims from behind, says a report. The Independent Medical Legal Unit, IMLU, findings have revealed a pattern of unlawful killings, that is during protests and routine operations by security officers in the country. That is as the world commemorated that critical day on human rights yesterday. And on politics, Gachagua, why Kalonzo is the man to be. It's a story captured on page 7. He says he's gone out full throttle to support Kalonzo Musyoka. Will they carry the day or not? Will it separate the united opposition or not? Or it will get it stronger? All right.
That's the Daily Nation.
Yes.
Tukienda haraka haraka sasa, the Star, 15 Kenyans to be deported from USA in Trump crackdown. The branded criminal aliens, their crimes range from drink driving to kidnapping. Of course, again, they're here on the front page of the Star. Fried chicken reigns supreme as Kenya's top online order for 2025. Tunakula kuku sana, according to this newspaper, has been captured in page 11.
You know, interestingly, I don't take chicken, but I think I have ordered chicken online at some point in time this year.
What do you mean you don't take chicken?
My story is interesting. It had no allergies, no nothing, but I think I was this diva little girl. So at some point in time, niliona kuku ikikula lizard, and it was brought home for Christmas. And then I asked, inakula lizard, alafu itachinjwa niikule? From that day onwards.
That's a discovery.
You know?
That's a discovery.
Onwards, yes.
All right. After reprieve, senators back bail shielding governors from early impeachment. Is another story on page 6.
Interesting one. We will discuss that.
And toothless, NCIC gets power to bite in new law, and court asked to nullify 207 billion shillings US-Kenya Health Cooperation Pact. That's the Star, fresh, independent, and different. Grab a copy at 60 Kenyan shillings today.
The People Daily, Safaricom buyout. I think this is a conversation that has been there for the better part of the week, and what it could mean to Kenyans. A story captured on page 4 and 5 extensively, and they're talking about the impact on community Safaricom Kenya. And you know, they're talking about the aspect of shares or number of shares, shareholding. They have captured the question on Vodafone and Kenya Limited about in the millions and all that. Cabinet Secretary to the National Treasury of the Government of Kenya. So they literally highlight what this would mean, and the gains that Safaricom has reported in terms of just dealing. Okay, well, of course we have zoomed out and all that. So I think it's something that one would want to be interested in, and just get to understand what goes into all these private arrangements, but above everything, what then the buyout would mean. I think we have seen just how much Ndindi Nyoro, the former chair for Budget and Appropriation in Parliament, has articulated this matter extensively, and because they say he has some huge shares in Safaricom, and so of course he speaks of the fears that would come along with that as something that is seen as politically instigated. But it would be interesting to get to understand. I think that's the biggest story, and perhaps what one would call the only story, aside from what is captured on the strips, where they talk about Inside Sonko's new party push and 2027 strategy, as well as Raila's vote block, the prize every party wants. That is in relation to politics.
All right, People Daily, People and Politics. The Standard, the only story captured here, radical shift begins matters education. And amid rising concerns over unpreparedness at running senior school that begins next year, today grade 9 candidates received results of their performance in the last 2 years of junior secondary school, despite warnings that have followed the Kalamesh's implementation of GSS across the country. Education mandarins begin preparing to send more than 1 million of the country's youngsters into the first step of their career paths in grade 10. To some, it is a fishing expedition. Issues raised, 11 million learners receive first ever KJSS course today. New scoring model replaces the 500-mark race. KJSS only counts for 60% of the final score. A national assessment report to shape policy. And finally, NEC to recommend each learner's pathway. This story has been captured extensively on page 4, and it's the only story on the front page now because you're working on borrowed time. Or maybe we can just take a look at some of the stories inside here. Rakaraga, high cost of deployment, deaths, delays, and legal wars. Haiti mission. Kenyan police returned from Haiti mission after a short, challenging deployment. They arrived yesterday. Legal disputes and lack of agreements raised questions about mission's legality. They were so happy to be back at the country, and of course we are so happy to have them back as well. Gachagua says IEBC is weak, Ruto fears him, is another story on page 6. Why we chose Vodacom over you, that is the Treasury CS John Mbadi. They say the planned sale faces growing scrutiny from citizens and lawmakers demanding clarity and transparency, and government says the deal will yield more revenue than public share offering.
It's basically about that conversation around Safaricom as well.
All right, on the back page, thank you for rallying behind me. That's Egypt teammates rally behind unsettled Salah before AFCON. The record 7-time continental champions are in Group B. That's the Standard this morning. Finally,
Treasury discloses about 1.3 billion expressway termination fee. Expressway divorce cost is over half of all PPP deals. And the Chinese firm eyes about 357 billion shilling sales in a period to 2049. It's about the Treasury that has revealed about 103.76 billion termination or break-free that Kenya will pay to the owners of the Nairobi Expressway should the 27-year public-private deal be terminated prematurely. It's quite interesting what goes into the arrangements of setting up such structures. I know for the longest of time during the Jubilee government, we were promised to get details, to the public as to the expressway, but never to be disclosed. And on the other side, regulator raises alarm over Christmas hacking of SACCOs. Interesting.
SACCOs are being hacked.
They are being hacked.
Ahead of Christmas.
It is just how bad you need the money.
Oh, wow.
But anyway, it will be an interesting report to check out, and of course, hope that the monies are safe. Your money is safe, especially if you're registered under any SACCO. How KTDA bosses heart market with floods of low-quality teas. A section of a Kenya Tea Development Agency directors deliberately influence the supply of low-quality stocks to the regional auction, hoping to irregularly benefit from a guaranteed reserve price, an audit has revealed. That is story captured on page 4, unfortunate piece right there. And of course, half of banks snub a fresh CBK loans pricing formula. That is a story captured on page 14. Banks have chosen different benchmarks to price loans under the new risk-based formula, denying customers a uniform reference rate to assess the cost of borrowing. That's interesting. I would love to understand what that then would mean in terms of growth. The State of the Nation on Morning Cafe will be having Honorable Wilson Sosion, veteran educator and unionist, as well as Dr. Peter Mbaya, Secretary Planning and Economic Affairs of DCP Party. Also, Zakaria Baraza, political analyst. It's all about what is happening in the country in terms of the current affairs, but above everything, some more on politics.
All right. After that, we'll be having a conversation about mobile lending, the confidence and convenience of it. And Kevin Matthews, Digital Financial Services Senior Manager at KCB, will be here for that conversation. Let's see what caricaturists are saying this morning. And the cartoonists are agreeing on the same thing. Across.
Yes.
US-Kenya health deal.
At least the president spoke about it yesterday extensively to say that there's no cause for alarm. But Okiya Omtata has gone to court. Yes.
they're seeking to cancel it. Wanasema breach of data is something that is of concern. But
the president says hakuna kitu kama hiyo.
Kitu kama hiyo. Your data is protected, it's safe. That the Washington won't be able to access your data. Lakini we see, of course, the health cabinet secretary also pale nyuma holding this briefcase, the US-Kenya health deal.
Right.
This is the Star.
And yes, Kenya-US health deal is basically about that. The Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary, the US for matters, the CS, sorry, for matters health, as well as the President and Trump is wameshiko. Hiyo ni kama nduano na wamekaa kwa troli. Wafurahi, lakini swali ni is it really worth the deal? Okay.
That's the Daily Nation. Now, this is the People Daily. Lakini on one side, they're saying, I need your help. Uganda wants to attack Kenya and take its Indian Ocean. It's something that was disputed earlier later this year, sometime around last month. Of course, President William Ruto ako hapa na President Trump. Lakini Trump, in response, anasema, you need to build a huge border wall and make Uganda pay for it. Then make Kenya great again.
Interesting. You know, there's a deal between Kenya and the US. There's a deal between the US and Uganda and all that. So how do you utashtaki aje?
Ama ni kutugonganisha.
Inakuwa ngumu.
Kugonganisha sisters.
Inakuwa ngumu sana.
That's People Daily. Finally, the Standard na how wameenda totally different.
Wameenda totally different. I think they're talking about politics and how much the CSs are set to go out there full swing to campaign. That is for the Kenya Kwanza government. They say by the ballot or the bundle, any which way, two-term must come.
Au najua, they say on social media that wao kuretain their kazi, it's if wameenda two-term. If it's okay.
It's a game of interest.
Yes.
It's not about the Kenyans anymore. It ceases to be that, then it's about you.
Everybody's protecting their jobs.
I would probably do the same. I don't know.
That's the caricatures this morning. And of course, stories making headlines in the country and regionally. Do interact with us on our socials. TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube. And next at TV47 Digital. My handle next is at Ann_Dida. The hashtag is Morning Cafe TV47.
At Linda_Alela. If I were choosing who's going to get the Fun City voucher today, ningewauliza waseme maana ya kuhodhi. Lakini it's a very simple trivia for them today.
Yeah.
The question is, who would, if you get a chance, who would you be taking to the Fun City affair that is in Utawala, where we have great goodies, as you can see on your screens right now. So when you get to answer that and you tell us who you would want to take there, we certainly have a voucher for you for 3 people. So what are the goodies? 3 reasons you should visit Fun City this weekend is that we have unlimited outdoor games only at 1,100 they have, and then there's swimming at only 300 bob, and mascots and delicious food from about 150 shillings. The number to call is 0722 2389 and 88, and you get yourself that opportunity. And we also are saying that we'll be giving you a voucher so that you can tag along people, your favorite people, and you go out there and enjoy. We're talking about the possibilities of you enjoying your birthday party with mascots, talking about how best you can go out and book for the different sessions of excitement that is in Utawala Fun City.
Absolutely.
What else? We did it all right. Of course, we have indoor games with mascots, and they're talking about how best you can enjoy. You see just how interesting it would be for your kids. We also talk about, birthday parties, indoor games, outdoor games, Fun City mascots, restaurants, amusement park, venue for events, and much more. And we say it's different today because we're giving you a free voucher for 3 people. First come, first serve. Just tell us who you'd want to take to the Fun City, and we'll get to you. The number to call 0722 238988. That is in Utawala. Here is a Christmas deal.
Absolutely. Goodies for you this morning. Joseph Kaleli, we see you in. Thank you so much for watching. Advisor Pastor Emmanuel Baraza, well represented. Thank you so much for watching. And D. Jones, we can also see you. So now that you've woken up with us, take this chance and grab a voucher for yourself. See you after the break.
Don't say hatukukuambia.
to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Omer every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. only on TV 47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV 47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach only on TV 47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tear gas. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
Walikutoka.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments.
Mimi si kama. Hiyo naona nakubali.
Wewe ni simpa.
Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist. What is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV 47. Enjoy uninterrupted live streaming of your favorite programs on TV 47 and Radio 47 on the go with our new mobile-friendly website. Experience the future of broadcasting. Visit www.tv47.digital or scan this QR code and stream your way to endless news and entertainment. Welcome to the home of untold stories.
This is Kenya's #1 talk show, Dr. Farika tonight. My name is the Eagle himself. Dr. Farika is my name.
We are flipping the script, but guess what? Or should I say, guess who is taking over tonight's show?
Ani wewe furahia umekaa na kasukuni. CP unit ni Punet.
So you guys knew about
Piga.
Sawa basi. Sema, hata ungevi the whole time.
I don't want to go back to brokenness.
Never.
I just love the high life. Siwezi taka kuimagine ati nimesota.
You'll have to watch to find out. Tune in every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m.
Next time you need fresh lemon juice, microwave a lemon for 7 to 10 seconds. Then roll the lemon back and forth under your palm on the counter. When you squeeze, you'll get more juice from the lemon with way less effort.
Start your day with Relationship Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. with Ann Odida. Dive deep into the dynamics of love, friendship, and family as we explore the stories that shape our connections. Then satisfy your appetite with Tasty Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. where Anne serves up delicious recipes, cooking tips, and the latest food trends to inspire your next meal. Relationship Wednesday and Tasty Wednesday every Wednesday 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on Morning Cafe.
Your nose alone won't always.
But it's good to see you. Mimi ndio Nico, and I'm sitting in for Freddie Ndimuli. We get to the conversation. It's a great honor to have you this morning. Asanteni sana kwa kuja. Wilson Sosion, veteran educator and unionist, seated right at the center. And of course, on his flanks is Dr. Peter Mbai, Secretary Planning and Economic Affairs of DCP Party leader, of DCP Party as well. Or is it DCP Party or Democratic?
Yeah, Democracy for the Citizens Party.
So it is DC Party.
DCP, yes.
It's DC Party. You cannot say DCP Party.
No, we just call it DCP for the purpose of the party.
Yes.
Just call it DCP Party.
And then we have Zakaria Baraza, political analyst. Gentleman, asanteni sana. I want to begin with Honorable Sosion, that before we get to the politics, because politics will run the affairs of the nation. But for the better part of this week, we have talked about the question of education. And what is unfortunate is that it is in limbo. And especially if you're going to talk about, these students that are transitioning, the junior secondary and all that. You look at the Standard newspaper, it has captured that as the only story on the front page extensively. And I think all these other papers, and we have carried stories revolving around that. As an educationist, and as a person who has sat at the heart of the union activities that really inform and shape the agenda of education in this nation, do you feel like at some point you have failed the nation because of this confusion that we get to see, or we have just refused to understand the system that would rather be a great system for our children?
Anybody living in Kenya will know that in 2016, 2017, I raised a very serious red flag about the reforms that were being introduced in education, ranging from constricting transition to universities with the examination reforms that were brought in, which has led to the collapse of universities. That's why you're seeing strikes in the universities.
Yeah.
And the curriculum that was hurriedly introduced without proper public participation, without extensive consultations, without professional work going into it, that was not done. And I didn't just make noise. I directed two research studies.
Right.
One on teacher preparedness. And there are a lot of gaps. And there were indications that this curriculum was foreign imposed on Kenya. It is not a homegrown curriculum, and that it was going to be very costly to implement it. Teachers were not prepared. The country simply was not ready for it.
Okay.
And the other study was on the summative evaluation of the pilot phase, which was conducted by Fred Matiang'i between June 2017 and October 2017. You can't conduct a pilot phase from the middle of the year. It is done at the start of the year for the whole year. And you have a proper summative evaluation report that is shared with the public. And when the pilot ended in October, there was no report, nothing was shared, and Matiang'i moved on to try and roll it out in the new year. And we objected it, and that was postponed for another 1 year. And then the rest is history. Everything has been amiss. Everything was amiss during the tail end of Uhuru's regime. But when William Ruto was preparing for presidency, those of us who believed in reforming education and reviewing the curriculum, because the only thing you can do is to review, but not to throw it away, was to, we advised the president to develop a pragmatic framework that would guide the review of the curriculum in line with the UNESCO, which indeed was done, domiciling of grade 7, 8, and 9 in our current primary schools, and it becomes the unit of education closer to the household, and which removes the cost. That is a big milestone. To me, that was a big decision. reviewing the content and the scope of learning and even the subjects.
Right.
For example, grade 9, they were supposed to take 14 learning areas, but they were reduced all the way to 9.
Right.
And reviewing other aspects of this curriculum, including making mathematics mandatory at the senior secondary. To me, a lot of remedial measures have been put in place, and the president also agreeing to hire additional 116,000 teachers, which already is at 100,000. To me, the government has done a lot to review. It could have been terribly worse than what we are seeing.
And therefore,
but I think the most exciting level of CBC, which I didn't have any issue right from the beginning, was the pathways. But for the pathways, teachers need to be adequately trained for arts and sports and technical areas, that is the technical subjects, so that then almost all the schools in the country, but not schools selecting the pathway. I think it's a wrong thing. To me, I don't support a situation where schools select the pathway and some schools are unable to provide certain pathways. The philosophy should be all senior secondary schools should be able to provide the 3 pathways. That means STEM must be compulsory in all schools, must be available in all schools, and then sports and arts and humanities. To me, I think we hurried into rollout without preparing to train teachers and without investing in the quality infrastructure to support the pathways. So the big challenge that we have in senior secondary, without a doubt that the country must know, is that the infrastructure aspect has not been adequately addressed. And that now is a mandate of the boards of management of the schools. And I believe they should be prepared, and it should be work in progress. And this is something that should have been done right from earlier on. And we have seen some schools trying to simulate their systems about the new pathways. And to me, I think a lot has been done to review and let us allow the selection of senior secondary schools by students, admission of students to senior secondary schools. And without wasting time, the schools should use not later than first term to ensure that the requisite infrastructure of good quality is available in all schools to deliver the pathways that they've selected. And then number 2, they should also ensure that there is teaching of all the learning areas that are available within the schools.
And therefore we're saying...
We can't postpone these things beyond first term. And so first term, 2026, the leadership at Jogo and the entire education sector should roll up their sleeves and devolve their activities to the schools and assist the schools to ensure that work is going on, particularly...
Allow me to loop in the other gentleman, because we have a scholar as well. And the reason as to why I've given Honorable Sassion some extra time is because it's necessary. And now that we're talking about education, he's been seated at that helm for quite some good time, and therefore with immense knowledge as to how we maneuver. Zachariah, do you suppose that now that the train has left the station, we might as well continue and work on these adjustments that he speaks about, and that we will eventually get it right?
You see, the biggest problem with this system is that it was imposed by the government. It's not people-oriented system. Stakeholders were never involved. Like as Mr. Sossion says here, teachers were never involved, parents were never involved. So the government is trying to impose a system whereby there are no infrastructure in place. So the best thing for government to do is to sit with all stakeholders right now, call all teachers, call all parents, because they have now experienced what is happening. Because you will discover that you go to most schools, there are no infrastructures. You will discover that kids in secondary school, junior secondary, are still learning from primary structures. You discover that teachers are not even prepared. Parents are not even prepared. So the best thing for the government to do is to call all stakeholders for a meeting, so they can now assess where are we heading to.
But let's admit, I don't know whether it is in order or misplaced to argue that there was not much of public participation and involvement of stakeholders in relation to the rolling of the competency-based curriculum. And it's something that has been there, you know, the pilot program and all this for quite some time. Can we confidently say that the government did not really engage stakeholders, or perhaps they did, but not in the magnitude that would have been expected?
No, what they did was, in fact, it's an imposed system to the stakeholders, because you'll discover most stakeholders are complaining. And who are the stakeholders? Teachers, parents, and other people. They were not involved. So the best thing for the government to do right now is to call all stakeholders and assess, where are we? What can we do? But you see, most of these things are being done in Nairobi. They are not on the ground, because you'll discover that you go to most schools, there are no infrastructures, there are no teachers, there's nothing. But the government believes that the system is working. So for my advice is that let all stakeholders be involved at this stage. Let's assess, where are we? What can we do? But you see, when you do things from the ministry without those on the ground, you discover things are very different. Walk to most schools, nothing is happening. Even teachers don't understand the curriculum itself. So the best thing for the government to do, let it involve all stakeholders at this stage.
All right.
Be able to get somewhere.
As a scholar, Dr. What is your observation on the education system as it stands, and where our children are headed, where the nation is headed? Because we must get the education bit right if at all we're going to have a successful nation.
I think I will speak purely from a structural governance level, at a very high level, and say the following one. Well, now we can come here and say, you know, this one was brought up by the last regime. It is 4 years by which the current regime ought to have streamlined this system. Because somebody will say, oh, you know, we were handed over this thing by the President Uhuru Kenyatta. But you see, when you take over government, you take over assets and liabilities. You take over the good things, and you take over all the issues to streamline them. You cannot come for 4 years. It's very painful that we are all here as leaders trying to, you know, just try to swim and try to find our way out. And the kids are watching. As leaders, that's where the pain comes. Because how do you explain to my kids about whatever is happening here, yet you yourself, you don't know. And you are the leadership. You can't say for 4 years, you are still trying. Okay, there was a working team somewhere. I don't know what it did. I don't know what exactly came out of it. And everybody, all the stakeholders, and I'm happy, including my colleague here, he is one of the senior most, you know, minds on education. Himself, he doesn't know what's happening in this country. Yet he is one of the topmost brains. But he is saying, oh, you know, we are not sure, you know, challenges here and there. You have asked me what is my view. My view is that it is so unfortunate that 4 years into this government, we can't have a clear path. You jumbo JSS, no capitation, no laboratories, no classrooms, no nothing. The people are not trained themselves. And then you are pushing out kids. Remember the confusion that was there at JSS? We are pushing it now to the senior secondary. Again, with the same set of problems. I will tell you this. My friend Zakaria is a diploma. You know, he's saying, oh, we are my advice is nothing will change in this country. I can tell you, if 4 years a government can do nothing, we'll just have to survive for the next 1 year. What I can tell you, once we take over government as united opposition, we'll review this thing the soonest possible. Get the brains together in one room. Linda, do you know what? The solutions in this country lies within. People know. Just call the experts. Call people, call teachers, call all these people, put them together. We have serious brains who have gone to this level of PhD, masters on education management. Tell them here, what happened to this report? It is spent taxpayers' money, right? What happened? You'll notice one thing. Linda, unfortunately, not that these people didn't bring their brains on the table. If you ask all these the KEPSHA and all the leaders, they know this is what can be done with the mess that we have. Now, I'll not go back to how it was started, because it was started. You know, and we agreed. When this government came, we said, we will not come and say, we are killing it immediately, back to 844. What I would say, can we have a quick review, find out what needs to be done, but unfortunately, if all the promises of GSS are not honored, all those kind of this capitation, people are being told to pay more money. I can tell you, no solution is expected with this regime on education, on health, on all those things. They are stuck.
You know what disturbs me, Dr. Bai, is the fact that you are talking about the review that is going to be done by the united opposition. And if we're even going to overlook the united opposition and look at even DCP, that you people are people who sat in government, even as the government continued to roll out on this. Why is it that, the advice that you intend to, or you have preserved for that review, why is it that you could not give the government for the sake of the children of this nation? And the united opposition consists of also Matiang'i, who is being blamed, I would say, for being the person that spearheaded this conversation on the rolling out of the competency-based curriculum, now competency-based education. I mean, what was so difficult to help the nation then, because it was critical that we have to wait for this regime to be out so that you can come in with great reviews? Thank you very much, Linda.
And will tell this, I will never run away from the fact that I was part of the people who founded this government. I was part of it and served it until the time I quit, because of exactly what you're asking. That's why today I'm seated on this side. Because I can tell you on this phone, we have all the recommendations right from the ministry people. We sat with about 100 senior leadership of the Ministry of Education, right? As part of work of performance and delivery. And we asked them, what can we do? 5 things. It is recorded. It is there before the head of state and before cabinet. Now, the issue, let me tell you what happens in the presidential system. You can only advise. The buck stops with the CEO. There has to be,
are you accusing the CEO of being a CEO who does not listen?
Can I tell you something? The best, I have moved around this government, sat together with about 100 senior civil service in every state department, literally. And I have that record even on my phone today. And I can tell you, we have the best in the world. What happens, Linda, unfortunately, once you advise a senior civil service, you go all the way, give it to the PS, to the CS. Finally, you leave it for the CS to go and engage cabinet and the president.
What I hear Sosion say is the fact that it was badly off until the coming of this regime that has tried to make adjustments that he says would be promising if we continue with the same momentum. So how can you accuse the current CEO of being a person who does not listen to advice, yet he speaks of adjustments that have been made that are, sort of directing us to the positive side of the affair?
Very important, leader. Let's be very careful. Number one, we are saying, was this system of CBC, did it come at the right time? Was it necessary? Were all the factors considered before it was introduced? We are saying no. Okay. There were serious overlaps and gaps, and some issues were not done before it was implemented. Yes. All that we agreed, even when we were taking over this government. But then we said, are we going to kill over everything, go back by a stroke of a pen, by an administrative action and say we are back to 844? We say, fine. And that is how the working report was formed. Okay. The working team.
The presidential working party. Yes.
Right? Go tell us how can we navigate now that we are already here. Yeah. And you see, governments exist in perpetuity. Okay. The fact that the other one, blundered here and there, we can come and work it in. Now, the question is, since the report was done, there were so many things that were recommended which have not seen the light of the day. And we are saying, therefore, the issues of classrooms, laboratories, people are just move on there. Basic issues like the JSS teachers for motivation, 2 years contract, now extended for internship. Those are the basic things we are saying.
I'm thinking, Dr. that it is in the best interest of the CEO to see the nation fruition. The best interest of the CEO to see the education fruition under his watch. Of what interest would it be for him to see that even the advice that he's given by the presidential working party that he formed, he is not abiding to? Isn't it absurd? Isn't it ironical for us to argue that way? And I want you to respond to that, and perhaps even get Sosion to respond to that, maybe in a minute as we close this matter, but after this short break. Okay. All right.
No more excuses. It's It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Omer every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. only on TV 47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV 47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach only on TV 47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tear gas. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments. Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist. What is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV 47.
Right, we are back with Zachariah Sosion as well as Dr. Mbai, and the conversation that we have started with is on the question of education in this nation and what it would take for us to get it right. And now that we say the train has left the station, we are at that space of the competency-based education, away from the competency-based curriculum and away from the 844 system. Yes, Dr. Mbai, you speak of just how the president committed to set up a team to look into the matters that were raised by the people and to even establish others and, advise him, and that he would wake up and decide not to follow on this advice. So Sion here acknowledges that indeed they gave as much advice as possible, but the then regime perhaps did not focus much on picking some of these advices. So what are we telling Kenyans? We might as well say that it is all done and dusted and that we just live by it, even though it's a sword?
No, I'll tell you this, because we are here and we are going to January and we have to move on this life. First of all, it's agreed that we all agree. So let's not go back too much to say, oh, it was bad, we advised it when it was being done by Uhuru Kenyatta. We have all agreed it ought not to have come at that time because a lot of work ought to have been done. That one is agreed. But here we are, 4 years later, and we are saying, you have asked a question. How comes when the president put up this team, they made recommendations. 4 years later, they are not yet bringing it. Actually, we are going back because the issues like GSS, the issues like capitation, those are issues that we should not be discussing about, by the way. The issue about funding education system it's not something we should be discussing. That one was started by Mwai Kibaki. It was supported by Uhuru. It ought to have continued, but we are drawing back the gains. So what are we saying? You have asked a question, why? For the same reasons all other systems are failing in this country. For the same reason, healthcare is not working. For the same reason, we have problems with public debt. There is a problem of governance in this country. And leader, you know me as a leadership and governance. I speak purely on policy matters. There is a problem from all sectors. People who have learned in this government, they say they have many years on political experience, that plus, from 1982, but very little on governance, respecting systems and structures and procedures. That is a big problem in Kenya today. We need leaders who understand government, who understand listening to civil service, to the people from specific sectors. Listen to them. Don't come with your own that this thing has to work this way. I cannot fund this thing. Who takes money from capitation, whoever takes money from free education, who does that in this world? Education is an equalizer. That is what we need to do. Like yesterday, I was somewhere, and this guy was saying, I have 2 kids going to JSS. He has no idea how he's going to fund it.
And
so
most of the parents have no idea.
The failure of Kenya today is a failure of lack of capacity to govern.
And in less than a minute, or perhaps in a minute, Susion, I want you to close on this debate of
probably
education.
it can be a minute and a half. And I start by saying President William Ruto took a lot of time to understand the challenges in the education sector before his election. And he had intensive consultations with the dons at the university. He had intensive consultation with the teachers at the basic education. And he signed an education charter, which all the time, when we consult, he questions whether there are certain provisions in the charter that he has not, his government has not implemented. And I'll come to the Presidential Working Party on Education and Reform.
Right.
That was one major undertaking to fulfill the provision of public consultation on matters to do with education. And public consultation is a key activity of the current education leadership. And we have seen the minister engage in public consultation forums at all counties and at national on matters of rollout of CBC, which to me, that is a plus. That never existed before. Look at it, for example, when Kenyans debated about making mathematics not compulsory in the pathways of humanities and sport and arts. And it became inevitable that we needed a lower, softer form of mathematics to be made compulsory. That was adopted and it has been corrected. Very many other aspects of consultations. When the president hosted all the union leaders, elected leaders from the grassroots, for both unions in the education sector at State House, it is in line with the UNESCO ILO recommendation of ensuring that teachers and they enjoy their political and democratic rights insofar as policies are concerned. And key policy issues in education were canvassed directly with the president, with the teacher leadership representatives on matters to do with capitation. And you remember the president directed how many of the issues would be solved through certain groups and the timelines of rationalizing and ensuring that capitation flows as was required. And I think that has already its work under implementation so that there's no confusion as to how capitation should flow. And the gaps that have existed, which were carryovers of another regime, are corrected administratively. So there are a lot of administrative remedial measures from the desk of the president. And to me, I've not seen a president anywhere in the world who is able to convene union leaders who are actually the democratic representatives of teachers to discuss policy issues in education. To me, that was a high-level policy meeting, and a lot of things indeed were discussed. But that does not mean there is a silver bullet to resolve everything. Education is a complex ecosystem. And I would say, professionally, if I were to advise, the exit of JS, when we were moving to grade 7, we should have had a very professional study conducted across the country on summative evaluation of rollout of CBC up to grade 6. And that report should have formed the basis of a national conference in education at that time.
Interesting.
At the it's required.
We have to close. We have to close, eh?
I mean, we respect Mwalimu Sosion. He's one of the leading. He's one of the best brains. But 4 years, he can't be talking about conferences.
No, I'm
talking. Did it?
I talk.
I mean, he has been advising the president even now.
That is what you call dialogue.
Even maybe after this, he'll go back to advise.
Dialogue in education.
Back to advise the president.
In education we cannot be suffocated.
We cannot be feeding Kenya.
We cannot be suffocated.
We cannot be feeding Kenya.
Even as
conference again.
As we transit to JS, professionally in curriculum rollout, we needed also a proper summative evaluation of JS at grade 9 that culminates into a professional national conference.
It's a complicated language.
And then, yes, let Kenyans discuss, because you must promote dialogue. We cannot repeat the mistakes which were repeated in the past. And in curriculum rollout, even alongside such a report, universities should carry out very many studies and reports in the rollout and should be shared. Okay. That is how it is done professionally. Well, it is not done politically the way he's talking about. You don't talk about governance without data that informs that.
But he had 4 years. He is a senior advisor even now on education.
Continuous.
Sonia is somebody we respect. Is one of the top brains.
No.
Let me say that.
Let him not interfere with my.
Let him not interfere. People are watching and people are wondering. You cannot be planning on the 4th year, Linda. You can't. He is one of the senior advisors even now on presidential on issues on education. These are things by now these ought to have been done.
If your government gets in,
you can. Yes.
If the united opposition gets in, you think you won't look
within
for
days?
Advice?
You just sit down. No. But you see, that's what we are saying. As government, I'm an expert on delivery. You cannot be doing planning on the 4th year when you are going to elections.
Zakaria, close it for us.
You can't begin calling conferences.
Allow me to.
People are tired of conferences.
You're extending it too much.
Professionally, you've brought up a discussion. And
that is critical, I agree. Yes.
The professional process of rolling out curriculum. There is a sequence. And public consultation is key. So that then, as we prepare for transition to grade 12, we must be able to discuss as a country, to look at the gap.
Would you give us timelines to that? Because that is what he
we are supposed to be discussing our children's issues. That's why we exist as a country, and that's why there should be frameworks in place. I think possibly that is what needs to be done. Even as we implement grade 10, at some point, say the month of June or August, we should be able to have continuous consultations and discussion and studies.
Fair enough. Zakaria, close it for us.
We roll out the curriculum professionally.
Fair enough.
But we don't do the politics.
Let me just say something.
As we close it, sum it up for us.
Let us be professional.
Kenyans don't
right. The way we roll out.
You see, the biggest problem with the politicians is when they're campaigning, they have a very good manifesto. They will talk so nicely. But once they get into the office, they don't implement what they had promised Kenyans.
Right.
Kenya Kwanza had promised to work on the system. In fact, they were elected on the reforms. But since they took over, they have not done any reform in the education sector. The reason being, the president has all the reports. He has the ability, he has the capacity to turn around the system. But he cannot turn it around. Why? Because they are waiting for 2027. They will be using it as a campaign tool. Two, those people who are implementing this system, who say, if you look at all their kids, they don't study CBC. They are all doing some other education, British curriculum, American curriculum. So they even don't know what they're implementing. Even if right now if teachers can go on strike, you will not see anyone working on it. It can take another 1 or 2 years, or even 8 months. The reason being, they are not affected by what is happening. Look at all senior government officials. Where do they take their kids? Doing British system, they're doing American system. Two, if you look at the ministry, if it wants to implement this, it can even implement it tomorrow because they have the capacity. They have all the reports, but they can't implement it. Why? They want to use it for campaign. Like Mr. Sushino was saying that the president called the stakeholders in the State House. What did they discuss? Politics, two-term.
Is it?
Yeah, that's what they were saying. Two-term. Yeah, that's what happened. You see, the biggest. You see, let me tell you something. The biggest problem with our politicians.
Nine directives.
But after that, what happened? After that, after 9 resolutions.
What Barasa is saying.
Give me time, Association. The 10th resolution was two-term.
Okay.
So we should not start mixing politics with education.
Okay.
So when people live there, their mind is on two-term. Are you getting that? Yeah. The president has achieved what he wanted. But what you're saying, if we are calling for a conference for education, let's put politics aside. Let's involve even opposition leaders, because they may be having a good idea. But the problem is that now, any idea that comes from the opposition is poisonous. They believe it's out to derail the government. But you see, once you're in government, you need to accommodate both the opposition and the government.
Have you listened to the opposition today? Do you think they have the mettle to unseat the current regime based on the ideology? And when we talk about the opposition, we know rather too well that officially, constitutionally, we would be talking about Azimio, ODM and all that. But now we have the united opposition declared, united opposition. Do they have the substance? If you're going to listen to the policies they present, the capacity in terms of education, in terms of polity, in terms of the concerns that the country faces today to unseat or to warrant just a one-term for the
They have
current
the
regime?
capacity. If you want to know this, look at what happened in these by-elections. In Mbere, the difference was 400,000, 400 votes.
Okay.
In Malava, the difference was 300 votes. And look at the...
But the opposition, the united opposition, really disqualifies.
Let me just...
In their capacity, they say that the elections
were rigged. Let me tell you,
rigged,
even if,
which IBC has denied.
I'm saying,
so
say this.
How can we talk about this?
Let me just... I want to give you a scenario.
Okay.
400 votes after all the government machineries were there. We had the CSS, about 8 of them sitting there. We had about 8 helicopters sitting there. We had 70 Prados. All the government machineries were there. Look at Malava. Even all the state officers were campaigning after election. And what was the difference? After rigging. So now when it comes to a national election, where all those state officers may not be on the ground, it will be a walkover.
Okay.
The reason being, the government, when it came in on the promise that it's going to reform so many things. There were so many promises. But now, if you look at the health sector, it has collapsed. Education, we are talking about, my friend here has agreed, it has collapsed. Look at all the promises.
It has not collapsed. Don't put words in my mouth.
No, you are saying,
he's still doing theory. So
I've only stated what needs to be done further.
To make it better.
Better.
Okay.
So what we are saying,
But I've not said it
for the government to succeed in 2027, it has a lot of work for every to do. And you know, right now we only have about two years ahead of us. Only 1 year to implement, because the last year it will be a campaign. So Mr. Susion, let him prepare next year for 2027 to be in the opposition. And I can assure you that, because I know what the opposition is doing. Not even the opposition, the Kenyans are tired. The reason being, whatever was promised is not being delivered.
Okay.
So
what are the chances that the opposition will hold? What are the chances that the united opposition, if they are the ones to give Honorable Ruto a run for his money, what are the chances that he will hold? I see your party leader endorses Kalonzo Musyoka to be his preferred presidential candidate. The likes of Matiang'i that are interested, and I mean able Kenyans are seated within the coalition that would wish for them to be the persons that are going to carry the flag or be the flag bearers of the united opposition. Just what are the chances that they will hold with the kind of rhetoric that we get to witness today?
Thank you, and you have asked a question which I want to go very, very straight to it. You have asked, what capacity do the united opposition have to do these things? And I will say this, Linda. Today, seated here, this country, whatever needs to be done in all the sectors,
right,
is all documented. Because even myself, I have it. Right? We just need political goodwill. Seated together after a new government, Linda, you sit together, 70% of Kenya's issues, challenges, they need administrative action. That one I can tell you because I know. I've sat in meetings where people made recommendations. What do we need on tourism? What do we need on industry, on trade, on public finances? So it will need 70%, I can tell you. The 30%, Linda, is where now you need to go and change the law. You send it to Bunge, they make amendments to the law, things like SHA, housing levy and all that. So we are so clear, and I want to tell Kenyans today, in all what we need in this country is people who are not one man take it all, somebody who believes that other people are also intelligent, to just come there around the table. So yes, we have the high percent capacity, and that's why today we don't want to tire Kenyans. Linda, with 300 pages of manifesto, many stories, we'll do. We know what to do. We know what to activate guaranteed minimum returns. You just sit down and agree. Stop the corruption, stop the networks, stop state capture. When you are doing a policy, you don't have to follow it through to look for your business interest in that policy. So yes, we have the capacity 100%. It will take 50-70% sit down, executive orders, administrative action. Then the rest we just go send to go kill things like SHA, go kill things like housing levy to parliament, amend all the laws, and we are back to track. And I can tell you, we don't need a lot of stories. So yes, within 90 days, after we take over, you'll see a complete change of this government. The way you saw, you could feel the changes during Mwai Kibaki's time. Immediately, there were no more talks, free education, right? Issues of paying taxes. Every Kenyan would pay taxes because you could feel the sense of here we are to build our nation. Today, people are running away. Now, let me answer your question. This is what is going to happen. For record, Linda, nowhere has the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua endorsed the Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka.
What do you mean?
Nowhere.
What do you mean?
What we are doing is that people are talking every day.
Okay.
You see, there is, because we have the Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, we have the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, who is our presidential candidate under DCP. Kalonzo Musyoka is a presidential candidate under Wiper. We have Eugene under DAPK. We have Natembeya coming on board. We have Matiang'i. We have other people. That's why it is too early to say that, Linda. We have other people coming from the coast who also want to come with their own parties, and they are going to be endorsed by their own parties to be presidential candidates. We have other people coming from the Luo Nyanza. We have people from Rift Valley and Northeastern. So once that one is done, then a conversation will come to, can we have a lineup that will make sure one term becomes a reality? Okay. So please, all these media stories I'm seeing here, that the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua has endorsed Kalonzo, those things, we have a long way to go. And by the way, we are not in a hurry. Leader, we are not going to endorse anybody this year. This coming year even. Those are stories you are going to be discussing in 2027. So for record. But you're asking a question. We need to hold. Let me tell you what's going to happen. Once all these people come together, we have agreed anybody is free to go and popularize their own parties. Everybody is free to go popularize their own parties. Wherever across the country, all of us. Then we come together and begin. Which is the best formula to unseat President William Ruto, right? And for record, I want to say here today, DCP, Wiper, all these other parties have a right to field any candidate anywhere. Let me repeat. So the sentiments by my party leader that we are going to field candidates in everywhere, everybody is free to field. Then later, there's going to be a formula, because of course you don't want to go compete with each other in places where you are likely to lose. So the party leader was key, saying we have ambition to have DCP for governor, for senator, for women rep, not just in Nairobi, in 47 counties. Anybody coming to say, I want to run on DCP, we are encouraging them. So there's nothing to go back on that statement, Linda. Then Wiper will do the same. Wiper will say, we also want to field a candidate for governor, senator, women rep in Nairobi and elsewhere. Then we will come and see which is the best combination. All these other propaganda and stories, that's why we are here every day, to go clear them, because there are some narratives. Anywhere you see Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua, people, because of the fear, never mind the gentleman was supposed to be forgotten after 2 months, remember? Yes. But there is this fear of the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, because he's the only one man who was with Moi, was with Kibaki, was with Uhuru Kenyatta. He literally put in William Ruto in this position by mobilizing the votes. So the fear is real. He is only one man who has the capacity, who has the passion, and the reason for removing William Ruto.
That one man goes ahead to give about 8 reasons ambazo zinamfanya anamuunga Kalonzo Musyoka mkono.
Very good.
These 8 reasons perhaps to acknowledge that this gentleman could be way better than me. That this gentleman is a person I would love to comfortably endorse. That this gentleman could be the person that will help us as a nation, that is if there is need, to unseat the Honorable William Ruto. I will bring it to Sosion before you respond to that and get to see his view on the existence of the united opposition and the possibilities that there would be the ultimate solution to the problems that Kenyans face today. Or perhaps there would be the faces that would be strong enough to unseat the Honorable William Ruto, who's also put up a proper fight with the kind of activities and strategic forms of development that he's doing for the nation.
I've operated within the space of united opposition for a long time, but if I mention that, it's good I report on one item that he talked about education. And I would like to caution all groups in the country, for the interest of the country, we cannot postpone solutions to education. If any citizen has a solution that is good to education, tender it now. Don't wait on an imaginary time that you think you'll get elected, you'll be in authority. I think the lives of our children cannot be postponed, and that is why. If you go back, and that is why from the I have a program, and that is why, you can.
If we go back there, nobody will go back there.
I will allow you to read.
If you go back there,
you cannot postpone.
Well, he says they have done that, but
my problem is, I am saying. All government ministries are open, including the Ministry of Education. Anybody who wants to tender cogent policy advice to government, you do it. And the president is on top of things in ensuring that things work right in education. And we have seen that there's a lot of general stability, maybe other things to be fixed. And as I had suggested, more detailed public consultation should continue. And that rests with the leadership of the ministry. That said, the united opposition, You know the history of uniting opposition in this country started in 2002, which was very difficult also to put them together until Raila said, Kibaki tosha. You know, Kibaki was elected when he was sick in a wheelchair. He didn't do much campaigning. And Kenyans agreed that was the best to unseat Khan. In 07, we all rallied behind Raila Odinga, seriously. And that is a victory that was never declared. It is a victory never declared. And I forward again 2017, we united very strongly around Raila Odinga in terms of NASA. And in 2022, we united around William Ruto. Technically, William Ruto was operating from the opposition side of government, technically speaking. And people think Waswahili wanasema kila siku sio Jumapili. It is not, every day is not Sunday.
Sunday, okay.
So this imagination that is being weaved, things have changed over time. Politics of Kenya have become seriously issue-based, very issue-based. It's not very much about a person, an individual.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, that's a fact. If you look at elections of 2022, why was William Ruto able to get elected despite the heavy machinery of government behind a strong candidate called Raila Odinga? It basically was the agenda. And that agenda has kept gaining traction. When you are seated here, is UHC working? It is working, and it is working in progress. Is housing being delivered? Yes. When you look at the specific social services, education and health, is there progress in that? Yes. The general vision of the country, the other pillars, agriculture, MSME, ICT, and the rest, road infrastructure plan, it's at least there are strong indicators of the president moving the country forward, and is already working on a long-term vision that will succeed Vision 2030. And when we talk of taking every Kenya to the first world, it means you are taking every citizen out of poverty pockets, out of poverty. And that is no mean achievement. And when you look at the plan of dealing with infrastructure, of achieving that means to be done in under 10 years, what could have been done in 70 years with the current financial framework through budgets and the rest.
And realistic,
but it can be done. But it can be done. But it's the framework of the president is to ensure it's done under 10 years and it's going to be delivered.
Is it practical?
So practically, yes, it works.
All right.
And the president has talked about the Asian tigers. And what the framework of the Asian tigers is what the president...
You see the agenda, Honorable
and so, technically speaking, let me ask I was just giving you the general...
And in relation to that, I am asking...
The general data that forms the basis of how Kenyans are deciding. And so Kenyans, they know the president is believable and is able to deliver. And when you look at it based on... Because data does not lie. In Mbeere North, where Rigathi Gachagua and his team and the entire united opposition were expected to sweep, they lost. In Malava, where they were expected to sweep, they lost.
I want us to look at
That's a clear indicator of the thinking of Kenyans. Kenyans are tracking the agenda that the president is...
The agenda was better.
The opposition are not proposing anything. They are talking about, we'll come and stop housing, we'll come and fix education, we'll come and... There's absolutely
how then do you change the rules of the game halfway?
Agenda. So,
Mheshimiwa, how do you change the rules of the game halfway? That originally the plan was bottom up, but with all this that you're talking about, making the nation world.
Let me clarify. It
sounds like it's from top to bottom.
Let me clarify.
Down economy.
It is not top to bottom. It's not top to bottom.
I'll allow him to come in.
Bottom-up economic transformation agenda is still in force.
Okay.
It's only being escalated into a vision that will take us by 2055 to the first world. What does it mean? By 2055, you've removed everybody.
Do you understand the components and what it
means, we should conclude the bottom-up journey by 2055 by getting everybody out of country.
First world.
Let me tell you, if you are, I don't know if my brother Sosyon lives in Kenya or outside Kenya. The reason being, if you talk about bottom-up, what is it? There was a lot of, during the election, Mama Mboga believed that we are going to have changes in this country. But if you look at what is happening on the ground, things are different. What they promised is not what they delivered. The promise is still on paper, but come to the ground. Nothing. For example, as Western Kenya, when the president was campaigning, Kenya Kwanza, he did an arrangement where that is Honorable Moses Masika Wetangula and Honorable Musalia Mudavadi. One, he promised that he's going to do 1,000 kilometers. That is for Western Kenya. He promised that he's going to give them 30%, whatever. He promised that once they're in the office, within 100 days, he's going to buy a new machine for Nzoia Sugar Company. What happened? After a year, the company where he had promised to buy a new machine, he has sold it to his cronies, Nzoia Sugar Company. More than 10,000 people have lost employment. If you move to Nzoia Sugar Company right now, we have about 400 Indians from India who have taken over jobs that were being done by the locals. They promised 1,000 roads a kilometer. If you move to Bungoma, not more than 10 kilometers has been done. They promised that Mama Mboga will be in the government. There's no Mama Mboga in the government. In fact, people in government are trillionaires. You looked at the net worth of those people who moved into government. 1 billion, 2 billion, 700 million. I get that. They are not, so if you ask the Western Kenya, are they going to vote for William Ruto? They'll tell you no, they are not going to vote. And if you want to know this, there was a revolt in Bungoma during the by-election, where Moses Wetangula, who is the speaker, lost the MCA seat. Even in the classroom where he voted, he lost it to the opposition. Even in the stream where he voted. The reason being, people in Western Kenya, they have changed because what the government promised them, it has not delivered any. They promised that they're going to be employing people back into the government. Nothing. So what I'm trying to say is that if you look at what the government promised and what it has delivered, nothing. Look at capitation. Right now, parents are going to dig deep into their pocket to pay more 10,000, while they promise that they're going to have free education. Look at health. We had Mama Linda, it's called what?
Linda Mama.
Linda Mama. Whereby even a boda, when the wife was going to give birth, it would be free thing. Right now, they have to pay. We have that what we call for education, edu afia, where even if you had a kid in second school and the kid falls sick, the head teacher will just take this kid to the hospital. They be treated, you'll only be informed. But right now, if your kid is sick in the hospital, you must dig deep into their pocket. So if you look at this, it has no impact on the common man. Look at Shisho, it's not working. So if you ask a common man out idea, are you feeling the government? You are not. But look, the government has been
Would you substantiate the statement that SHA is not working? Because there's some people who you will bring here and they will tell you it is working. And perhaps even looking at the Haiti mission. We saw the soldiers coming back home, of course, short of 3 that lost their lives, unfortunately. But from what we see is that they come with a good report and a mission that was highly castigated. But the president put on a brave face and continued to deploy. And today, of course, the report is not what we expected. Many, had fears about. Are we hitting this government a bit too hard? Perhaps would it be proper for us to allow them that time to see what they ultimately then achieve with some of these programs that they have brought on board that are fairly new?
Let me just ask you, at what cost are they coming back from? We've been funding this Haiti thing from our own taxes. Was it supposed to be done from our taxes? No. People are in problems here. Why can't we use this money here locally? Because how much have we put in Haiti? In fact, you remember people went to court, but the president overruled whatever. There was a court order that he should not do certain things. But he went against that order. 2, at what cost? What is the benefit for Haiti? You cannot take people in Haiti while people are dying in Baragoi. We have a lot of insecurity in Kenya. Every day we have those problems. So it has no benefit for the common mwananchi. We are looking at what has the benefit for the common mwananchi. Now, 2, when you talk about infrastructure, like for example, the government has borrowed 3.5 trillion since they took over.
Right.
Show me any project in Kenya worth 500 million since they took over. There are no projects. But you see, it's a taxpayer who's going to carry all this burden. They even want to do that road from Rironi from Rironi to Mau Summit. Is it a basic? Why should we? You see, like they want to borrow another 5 trillion.
Right.
So if it had taken us 60 years to borrow 9 trillion, it's going to take this government 5 years to borrow another 9 trillion.
Okay.
Does it make sense? Who's going to carry that burden? It's a common mwananchi. So what we are saying, the government has not delivered what it promised our people. In fact, it's going to leave us in more debt. By the time they are living in 2027, this country will be in more debt. So the next government, the government which is going to take over, it will just start paying those debts.
Why are they so interested then to take over government? You don't want to inherit a government that in your own analysis is dilapidated. You don't want to inherit a government that has taken the country into shambles. You really need to be strategic to know how you're going to revive the country and the nation in such a manner. So why all this interest in terms of that? And we have seen your party leader when he and, of course, Dr. Samoei Ruto got into power saying that it was the previous regime, that is why it's difficult for us to do this and that and all that. And according to you, is that the situation is dire. It's worse than it was with the Jubilee regime. So why would you be interested in what are some of these things that Kenya should look out for? Because there's still that missing element as to the substance that the united opposition then brings on board. Apart from the unity factor.
Thank you. Quick. Number one, I would say this. Why we are committed to go and take over government and get in a new government? Because we believe in the Kenyan cause. We believe it is possible. Right? Some of us who have been literally at the top of trying to drive this thing because we believed there was a goodwill to literally transform. That's why we spent our time there. Because we know we have been to this government. We know it's very easy to have clear laws and to deliver. That's why we are looking for this government. Okay. Because I can tell you within 90 days, everybody even speaking right now, I can tell you seated, this is what needs to be done in this ministry, in this sector. The problem that happens, and please get me right, so that people can understand, that issue of political goodwill, there is so many private and personal interests that comes to all these things. I'll give a very quick example as I transit. Look, there is a policy that you cannot build a hotel along the pathway of the wildebeest migration. Yeah. A letter comes from the head of public service and chief of staff. That is the president. By the way, you'll never see a president writing letters. When the head of public service, chief of staff writes, that is the president. Literally directing to exemption because of that hotel. Okay. So what is that? Private interest. We don't know who is the owner, but your guess is as good as mine. Somebody very powerful. This is what we are saying. Can we have a country being run without personal interest? Linda, if I want wealth, and I'm already a top leader in this country, already I'm the father of the nation. If you are the father of the nation, please, don't go compete with your children. You know, a father in the house, milk and chapati, in the fridge at night. You're already the father. So let me tell you this. You ask a question. And my brother said the elections will be issue-based. Let me be very fast because I've been the custodian of issue-based.
Right.
There were 5 agenda, right? Agriculture, housing, the issue of Hasra Fund, right? Digital superhighway. In a nutshell, into 4th year, going to the 5th year, where are we? Guaranteed the minimum returns. You no longer hear the story. You no longer hear the story of Boda Boda and Mama Boga. The issue of health, I can tell you seated here today, SHA is a scam, the biggest scam in Eastern Central Africa. Today, I can tell you that because 104 billion was supposed to stem corruption that supposedly was in HIF. But money has been siphoned, meaning the whole thing was a cartel, just again, private interest, state capture. Get some good program for government, then get in there, begin swimming there with money and the private businesses. The issue of housing was an illegality from the word go. Nowhere in Kenya Kwanza did people say they are going to tax people so they can build houses. Uhuru Kenyatta did the houses that was launched without taxing people. So that was the whole thing again. These are things we are saying it has corrupted. Now,
what if people are taxed and then there's value for that taxation, that eventually then they get houses, or it benefits other people?
People are saying this, Linda. Everybody knows where to sleep. You cannot come, for example, I'm a banker. Because I walked into one day when I was working in government. I was so embarrassed. My bank manager stopped whatever I had gone to say. She began lecturing me, telling me, look here, Peter, I have a mortgage with my bank. I know where to stay. I have a house I'm paying. then how do you tax me by force? By force to go and pay for someone else to have a house. Is it fair? In a nutshell. But let me tell you, remember the digital superhighway? I'm just going through the 5. I don't want to go far.
As you sum it up on that.
There were supposed to be 1,450 ICT hubs in every ward. Where are they? We are going to the 4th year, right? Hazard fund collapsed, and you know why? It just died. And thank God, God is a God of miracles. The minister who is a minister to ask people to pay is on record saying don't pay. So God knows how to bring things back, eh? And he had told them don't pay the Hustler Fund. It's done. Now, with the
Hustler Fund is active.
Oh, my dear. If you know it corrupts, they gave it 5 billion in the first year.
Okay.
This year budget is 300 million, meaning we don't have a lot of hope in you. Okay. And I can tell you the minister Oparanya had told people to eat the money and run. Now, you don't have more authority to the people to pay. So hold on a minute. Look at the issue of education. Corruption. Now, how do you so? Recently, you asked everybody to gauge this government at 3. You remember?
Yeah.
Ruto at 3. It was a disapproval of 70 to 75%. Let me give you a summary. Seated where? Listen, Linda. Listen, hold on a minute.
You see, it's important that you acknowledge that we are 3.
No. I'm just saying, next year will be another story of 80% to 85% disapproval going to 2027. Finally, please, I want to apologize on behalf of Singapore and Korea. We have misused that name here. We have dragged that name into some petty politics around here with no intention of doing what they did. The issue of corruption in Singapore, my dear, the issue of FDIs, the issue of political stability, the issue of low taxation, encouraging businesses people, the issue of moving from, consumption to production through manufacturing. All those things we are not doing. Yet we are every day talking about Singapore and First World. Do you know why? Linda, we corrupt all the 5 agenda that we told Kenyans. Because they have corrupted, we have to get something new to run with towards 2027. Those are stories that will not work.
Dr. And call them stories or whatever. It is critical that the Honorable William Ruto then gets to convince the masses if he's going to secure a second term. What will it take to revive the once, labeled trust that he had won from the people? I mean, I see the strategic plans that they have set on board as the current regime in terms of how they're going to balance the question of development to entice the masses, how they are going to go and try and split the united opposition so that then they dominate, divide and rule kind of and all that. But what is this silver bullet, if you would want to put it that way, that is going to help President William Ruto save face?
I think President William Ruto is not new in town, and is not new to Kenyans, the way he's operating. And he has not changed his agenda at all. What he promised Kenyans is what he's working on. It is now time to work, not to talk. And the bottom-up economic transformation agenda is the philosophy of the president. And when he established the broad-based government, he said, I want a broad-based government that is all-inclusive to help me deliver my agenda, the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. The critics and pundits can try and criticize, and that's allowed. We are a democratic country. But then Kenyans can see what has been done without talking. If we talk about universal health coverage, has a lot of work gone into it? Yes. There are 4 pieces of legislation that are being implemented. Primary health care facilities are delivering. The level 4, 5, and 6 are implementing the shift policy. The critical illnesses are being handled. And in fact, from 1st of December, the cancer patients are being now treated at 800,000. And since independence, critical illnesses have never been handled. No insurance has ever handled that. So if we go into the details of implementation of health plans to make UHC work, a lot has gone into it. And we would like to be told of any patient in Kenya, any citizen who has gone to a health facility to be treated and has been turned away. I have been monitoring the implementation of SHA program on teachers. And there's a lot of excitement. Anybody can check.
Excitement or resentment?
No. There's a lot of excitement.
Okay.
In fact, for those who are going to get treated. You know the problem with the healthcare, those who talk a lot are people who are healthy, who have not even visited the facility.
Okay.
But those who give good accounts are those people who have been sick.
But Honorable Sosion, reality is that also those ones that are selling us the SHA agenda do not visit these hospitals, to access, like he says, most of these leaders, their children are in, British curricula and other curriculums. The same people will travel abroad to seek medical care as opposed to utilizing.
We might require another whole week to discuss why some Kenyans are going out for treatment. In fact, the philosophy of UHC is that everybody will have to be treated locally once we improve our healthcare system. And he has talked about apologizing on behalf of Singapore and the rest, forgetting that the Prime Minister Malaysia was here and he congratulated the President on the issue of housing. President William Ruto was recognized at the UN on the matter of housing. So I've talked about healthcare. A lot of work is being done. It is work in progress. It will work. And I've been in that space for the longest. And I give a lot of thumbs up on that one, because what is so great done, having all Kenyan households being treated at the cost of the resources of our own country. Housing, Linda,
yes.
If there are constructions in over 170 sites in the country, and we have seen Kenyans moving into the housing, is that not work? And we've seen construction of markets infrastructure, hostels around institutions, and including schools, facilities at Mukuru, for example, which was handed over the other day to the ministry. Is that not work? That's commendable work. It is bottom up. ICT infrastructure, the connectivity of the ICT high speed has gone to over 20,000 kilometers.
And that's for the government.
Very phenomenal.
Yes, that's for the government to tell us.
The work in agriculture sector.
I want to take it away from you.
He's talked about
to take it away from you and to Zachary, because he wants to respond.
Guaranteed minimum returns. Are the coffee farmers not earning almost double? There's a lot of work being done. It is work in progress.
Fair enough. It's for the government. Honorable Sosion, you have got to be fair and understand that there are the three of you here. Yes, Zachary.
The president is going to be re-elected on the basis of the work he has delivered.
It's a question of wait
Let
and
me
see.
just say something.
Yes.
See, they're talking about housing. In fact, when they were campaigning, they were saying, look, this housing is going to create a lot of employment. You'll discover that one thing, like for example in my county, Bungoma, they're doing that housing. But if you walk in town, you can't feel anything. The reason being, we've had projects being done in we've had projects being done in other counties, in Bungoma, Kakamega. Like when they're doing roads, you'll discover that one, all the hardwares in town, they'll be doing business because they'll be selling cement, they'll be selling steel. But if you come to Bungoma, you'll discover that all the cement that is being used to construct those houses is brought from the factory. So it's not affecting the common mwananchi, because we expect that all those hardwares in Bungoma should be the ones selling cement to the construction side. They should be the one selling. They should be the one selling steel to that side. Right. But you discover that all the billions that is meant for the housing is being retained in Nairobi. The only thing that we are getting is the 1,000 shillings or 2,000 that they are paying the workers who are doing the casual work. And you discover that that site has only about 300 workers. So the chunk of the money is not being retained in the county. It's being retained somewhere else. So it has no much impact on the economy. But we expect that such a project of billions, worth billions, the money should be brought to Bungoma to circulate. I get that. But all these houses, they are benefiting only few people, not the local economy. It has no impact on the local economy. The only thing that it has an impact is paying those laborers 1,000 shillings, 700. Yet this thing is worth billions. So we are saying this thing was meant to benefit certain people, but not to benefit the local economy. Because we expected that if such a project is being done in Western Kenya, about those local contractors, those local hardwares should be able to sell goods worth billions, so the money can circulate. But the only money that's circulating in those areas is the money to bail casual laborers, who are going to use it to buy food and what have you. Two, look at the houses. They are selling at 3 million, for example. and they say you pay 3,000 per month. How many years are you going to, over 100 years, calculate that money.
Slave.
Who is going to be there to pay for 100 years? Two, we have other hidden costs. For example, when you are staying in an apartment, you bought a house on the 7th floor, it means you must have a water pump to pump water up to the 7th floor. You have to pay electricity more than any other. Now, from 3,000, you'll pay another electricity 3,000. You'll discover that when you're living in that place, we have those common facilities like security and what have you. You pay another 3,000. So how much will someone end up paying? 10,000. Who is going to afford 10,000?
So
Well,
those are hidden
we
costs.
live in slums?
Are you trying to
and
say
avoid
that it's not
such
affordable?
It's not affordable.
Or perhaps people
No.
stick to the same state that they're in and
Let me tell you,
overlook.
Then what you're suggesting is that we continue with
let me tell you,
slums.
for example,
Technically.
who complained that we have places we are living right now.
Yeah.
There's nobody who's complaining that he needs a house.
Let us admit that there's that need for housing, that
No,
we still have a deficit.
Let me tell you something. Talk to all the teachers. They'll tell you, me, I don't need to buy an apartment. What I need 1 acre where I can be able to grow my own clothes, where I can be able to move around. You can imagine a 60-year-old lady. How is she going to live in an apartment? As we are used to free range. Move to all these people. They are living in villages. Once you retire, what do? You go back to the village. Why should you be confined in an apartment?
Well, interesting.
Another thing, when
So
it
we
comes...
continue with disorderly
No, no, no,
settlements,
no. No, but-
slum style.
No, it's not the work of
planning.
government to build houses.
It's not
Empower
their
the
duty.
private
Empower the
sector.
people so that-
Exactly. Empower the private sector
Empower
to have affordable housing. Government cannot do business.
Allow me to finish.
These are agents
My
of
friend,
barriers.
my friend
You
here is
encourage the
talking
private
about...
sector.
Honorable
Let me
Sosum,
tell
let's
you,
allow him to
my
speak.
friend here is talking about she. Look at all the MPs. Where do they get their treatment? They have private insurances where they're being given 10 million, but a common man is given SHA. Why can't they also take SHA? We said we scrap this private insurance for government officials, so if they test the feel of SHA. Because even if SHA fails, it has no impact on them. The reason being, look at MPs. How much are they being given for insurance? 10 million, even 20. Today, if they are sick, they'll be taken. Like now, for example, we have an MP for Kwanza, who is in India. Why can't he be treated in Kenyatta, like the way he's saying? So my point is, even SHA is meant for the common person, but the rich people, those people in the system, they don't need SHA. Even if it fails,
And
they
now
have got their own ways to do it.
All right, and now that the country celebrates the 62nd Jamhuri Day tomorrow, unajivunia kuwa Mkenya? Clearly not.
No, we cannot move out of Kenya. This is our country. But what we are saying, we shall fight for change so that people can get the best out of their government. People can get the best out of their taxes. That's what we are going to do. And that's why you're asking, why are we fighting? We are fighting so that we can reform the system, so that Kenyans can have the best, Kenyans can enjoy the best. That's why we are fighting.
And it's under the banner of, or the focus on tourism, wildlife, and mice at a time when you raise the concern that we see with Brits Hotel, that is in relation to, the blockage of the migration of the wildebeest. Perhaps we still get to see just how much the tourism sector continues to dwindle, if you'd want to say, even though the reports indicate that there's a bit of vibrancy that is in comparison to the times of COVID-19 and now coming to the current regime and all that. What do you suppose is there to celebrate when, as a country, we conglomerate in different quarters to talk about this day?
I think for me, for a day like Jamhuri Day, it's a very sober day. Without so much talking about, besides talking about what's happening now, it's good to go back and say, why are we here, right? On a day like tomorrow, 1963, is when people converged at Uhuru Gardens, and the Union Jack was lowered, and the Kenyan flag was hoisted. Now, this is important for political history. Now, that's why, in June, where there were elections, KANU won on 1st of June, 1963, KANU won, and then President Jomo Kenyatta became the first Prime Minister of Kenya. But now in December, just to distinguish between the two dates, in December 12th is when now the documentation was done. Remember that time, between 1963 to 1964,
yes.
President Jomo Kenyatta was the Prime Minister, and the Queen was still the head of state of this country, until now, December 1964, when Jomo Kenyatta became the president. So on 1st of June, there was the issue of, that's what we call it, Madaraka, attaining that self-rule. But then on Jamhuri Day, Kenya became a republic. And then 1964 is when the President Jomo Kenyatta became president. Now, what are we talking about? It is, we look back to what has been achieved.
Right.
There were three main basic things along the time of independence. the issue of fight of disease. Poverty and illiteracy. Right? We come back here today very quickly, without much ado, because tomorrow we'll be marking those so many years. Where are we on education? We have just taken 30 minutes to discuss education. Kenyans know what the kind of mess we have in the education system. We are not clear which one we are using. No, let's go slowly. Let's go the issue of disease. We are talking about SHA. Yet we know NHF was supposed just to be upgraded. Then you just improve what you have. That's why we are saying ourselves, when God helps us, we'll go back to NHF, improve it, and kill all the cartels in SHA. Because they gave NHF a bad name. So that they can kill it, then cartels moved to SHA. Number 3, let's go to number 3, poverty. Let me tell you today.
Remember, we have to close. Eh?
Yeah, you have to close. So those are the 3 issues that we are handling about. So what am I saying? Number 1, if teachers, Linda, and police will be pushed by force to SHA, we want to propose, somebody will go to court and ask the judges, let everybody else from the president, ministers, judges, go to SHA, if it's such a good thing. Those are the kind of things we are talking about, about equality. There's something you ask, and it's important to finish there. Look here, please empower, make the economy grow. So anybody will know their need. Do I need a car? Do I need a house? Do I need land? Somebody will make the economy grow. The governments cannot do businesses. That's why you see all businesses, all hotels owned by governments. The government does not exist to run businesses and to build houses and all that. Because you are going to exit power. What about the next government? But if you empower the people, whether a new government comes and goes, they are going to be responsible. That's what I would say for now. Haiti is a bad story. We went to Haiti against court orders, if you remember.
Yes.
We have spent a lot of billions of shillings in Haiti. It was meant to show the world that we are superpowers and that we are blue boys to go and be good to Americans. It's not going to work. It's a bad experiment. Let our boys come back home. The ones who will be remaining by the time we take over government, all of them will come at once.
All right, fair enough. Honorable Sosion, tomorrow we celebrate Jamhuri Day. Lots of feedback from Mama Mboga here. They still argue that, of course, the narrative was Mama Mboga and Boda Boda, but today the narrative is Singapore. And there's actually nothing wrong with that, like you rightfully say, but just how realistic, I think, were some of the critical questions. But je, unajivunia kuwa Mkenya as we come to a close?
Yes, this is our motherland, and I'm proud of this country. And I see an advert by the National Treasury on the next finance bill, and it's saying the proposals should focus on specific amendments, and submission should align with the government's bottom-up economic transformation agenda, which seeks to achieve economic turnaround and inclusive growth through a value chain approach. So bottom-up economic transformation agenda is alive. It is what it is intact, and we cannot have exaggerated expectation that the moment President William Ruto was elected, everything was going to work magically in a day. It is not an event, it's a process, it is a journey that should even end in 2055 by removing everybody from the bottom out of poverty. So it's not going to be a simple job. It's a hard job that calls for all of us to focus, to understand. And as we celebrate Jamhuri Day, the theme is on tourism. And tourism is a service industry that can help us move forward within a very short time. Many countries, the industrialized countries, are shifting from relying on industries to service industry. And when you look at countries like Malaysia, they receive more tourists than the population, almost 23 million in a year. You look at UK, 84 million. You look at Germany, 115 million, all over the world. So movement of people, and the president abolished visas for all visitors. And we have seen numbers going up over the last couple of years. We are beginning to receive more tourists. And I think this week the president emphasized on conservation by opening the Rhino Ranch in the Savo West. And I think there's been a call for us to conserve our heritage, including our ecosystems. Mara ecosystem is one of them. If somebody has put up a structure on a migration route, that needs to be done. The corridors of migration should be opened up all over the country, and we conserve our forests. So we cannot talk about tourists coming to this country for game and for other things without preserving our heritage. That really we need to do it. And indeed, Kenya has a potentiality because of the diversity of tourism products, ranging from culture, ecotourism, and conferences, wildlife visits, and the rest.
Thank you.
And we can receive 20 million tourists as a country. And if we were to receive 20 million tourists, then it is going to be the biggest income earner to the country, more than manufacturing and any other thing.
Well, Dr. seems not to
20
trust
million, yes, it's possible. If you look at data all over the world, some of our guys, if you look at data all over the world, the number of tourists in some countries is above.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, I think if you look at the biggest problem we have is corruption. The reason being, look at what is happening in Mara. This thing is all over the media. That look, the hotel was built on a migration route. You ask yourself, why did the head of public service write a letter? That's the first question to be asking ourselves. Why did he write a letter? Because we have so many hotels being put up, but they don't have letters from the head of public service. There must be something. And what is it? Corruption. Because an ordinary person cannot access the head of public service to write a hotel so that he cannot do certain things. 2, do we require a court order to remove that hotel? We don't. Morally, do we require a court order? We don't, because we know it's at a wrong place, and you saw what happened. But the problem with Kenyans is that they know that once they go to court, they want to do it on technicality. They want to put up a fight. But we are losing as a country. Another thing, for this country to succeed,
very close, sir.
For this country to succeed, we need to work the way Singapore works. We need to work the way Malaysia works. What happens? Corruption is the biggest problem. Let's pass a law that, look, if you are caught stealing public funds, you face the firing squad. And this is what happened. If we do that, my friend, we'll not be sitting here to talk about corruption. But in Kenya, people know that even if there are still billions, they'll walk away scot-free. But if someone knows that if he steals billions, he's going to risk his life, you'll see nobody will be stealing public funds.
All right,
for us
we have to close.
We need a punitive measure, even if it may be so that we can help this country.
All right, fair enough. Zakaria Baraza, political analyst. Right next to him, Wilson Sosion, veteran educationist and unionist. Last but not least, Dr. Peter Mbai, who's the Secretary Planning and Economic Affairs in the DCP party. Asanteni sana, gentlemen. We must close no matter what. But of course, I do not go without reminding you of the goodness of these festivities, where Fun City in Utawala is giving you the finest of birthday parties, indoor games, outdoor games, Fun City mascots, restaurant moments, amusement park where you go there and make the most and make merry, as well as, a venue where you can hold all the above events and so much more. You simply call 0722 238988 and get the details of what is in store for you. And of course, courtesy of TV47, we give you a prize, or we give you a voucher in relation to that. And so if you are choosing a Fun City Gardens to be the place where you hold your child's birthday, your own birthday party, this is where it is that you will get the most of experience. And so today we give you a pretty simple question that is going to guarantee you a voucher to Fun City. And of course, that's as simple as you telling us, if you had an opportunity to go there, who would you tag along? Who would be this person that you'd want to go with to the Fun City Gardens in Utawala? And certainly we'll be awarding 3 people with this voucher. Remember, we have indoor games that you would have to experience down there. And so it's your chance to take your children there. As you can evidently see the photos on your screen, it's a clear indication that there's a lot of fun, and it is something that accommodates everybody, as they would always say. And so the number to call so that you can get to have more details is 0722 238988, running down on your screen. Get the most of Christmas, get the most of family moments at the Fun City Gardens in Utawala. Thank you so much for staying with us. We still have more coming your way. Odida, with that critical conversation as to, these debts that we get to incur, mobile debts or so to speak, and whether they are a sense of freedom or they in a way get to hold you at ransom, and what you need to do so that you get it right if you have to go that direction. Otherwise, it was great having you. I once again appreciate your immense feedback and the contribution of our guests this morning to the broadcast. We close it at this very point as we look forward to celebrate Jamhuri Day tomorrow. Stay tuned. My name is Linda Lela.